This is a metabolic wiener, meaning it represents your metabolism, also called your TDEE, or your total daily energy expenditure. And I think it's safe to say we all want a bigger wiener, right? But we tend to be focusing on the wrong part of the wiener. So let's break it down. The smallest part of the wiener, known as EAT, or exercise activity thermogenesis, is the number of calories you burn while exercising. The problem is that only accounts for about 5% of your total daily expenditure. That's why it's a mistake when people say, oh, I just need to get more exercise, because there's much more to this wiener than just the tip. So let's go a little bit deeper, shall we? As we move our way down the wiener, the next section is called the thermic effect of feeding. This accounts for about 10% of your total daily energy expenditure. Yes, it takes energy to digest and assimilate nutrients. Fat has the lowest effect at about 1 to 2%. Carbohydrates is next at about 10 to 15%. And protein has the highest thermic effect at about 30 to 40%. So that means for every 100 calories of protein you eat, 30 to 40 of those are being used just to digest it. Yet another reason why protein intake is so important and why this part of the wiener should not be ignored. Now, as we slide down the wiener, the next section is called NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis, and it accounts for about 15% of your total daily expenditure. That's basically any movements, any tapping, waving your hands, and things like getting your steps in, and why many trainers recommend getting anywhere from 7 to 10,000 steps per day to make this section of the wiener bigger and even more impactful. Now, as we keep working our way down the wiener, we get to the biggest and arguably the most important part of the wiener, your BMR, or your basal metabolic rate, which accounts for a whopping 70% of your total daily energy expenditure. It's literally the number of calories you burn just while existing, breathing, heart beating, things like that. So it makes sense we want to make this part of the wiener as big as possible. So how do we do that? Well, that's where weight training comes in, because muscle drives the biggest part of your wiener, your BMR. So if you want to focus on the tip, work that tip hard with things like weight training to increase your lean mass so that the effects are felt all the way down the wiener to the BMR. The bottom line is you can't just focus on the tip of the wiener, metabolically speaking, and expect magic to happen. To make this wiener as big as possible and to really, get it to explode, again, metabolically speaking, you need to make sure that you're working the entire wiener from the tip to the base as effectively as possible. And now you have a better idea of how to do that. So let me know if you have any questions. Can't believe I choked on a wiener.